So, to start off, welcome to Balboa Park. If you haven't been there, we call it the Soul of San Diego, home to 15 museums, gardens, performing arts organizations, and the world-famous San Diego Zoo. BPSC provides technology-focused support to more than 20 organizations in the park. And a very basic way that we provide promotional support to the museums and other cultural groups is through a collaborative website, balboapark.org, through which we have a calendar featuring all the different events and exhibitions happening across the park, information about summer camps, all the different programs. We get about 2 million visitors per year for all of that content. But soon into my position at BPOC, I wanted to do things that were a little more fun and random, and so we started doing these photo contests. And one of the marketing directors had the idea of a contest called Top Dog, where people could enter pictures of their dog in front of the different museums and gardens. And we got hundreds of submissions and thousands of votes. Yeah, these were not the winners. Here's one of the winners. But we were able to really beef up our email newsletter list and really engage people with different aspects of the park. So while cats may officially rule the internet, people love to rally around their dogs. That paved the way for another project called Park Shorts, which was a video contest. And I was really excited about it. We did a lot of promotion for it, and it completely bombed. Nobody entered. And we got 3 submissions, and it was really embarrassing. I didn't even know what to do with it, and put it up for public voting. It was kind of awful. So, you know, we did it anyway, but I talked to a colleague of mine at the San Diego Zoo, and he had done a video contest and had similar results. A handful of people entered, and we knew that it would be a lot harder for people to do video than photo. We didn't expect that low of a response. So if you've had success with this, I'd love to hear about it. For those of you who haven't done something like this, just a word of caution. Another project that we did that I'm known for in San Diego actually is called Museum Marathon, and we got the idea for it 2 years ago at MW by talking to the Museum of Science and Industry about their Month at the Museum project. So my coworker Heather and I actually spent 26 days living in museums. We lived in 17 different cultural institutions. We slept on air mattresses. We blogged and did social media updates, a lot of 4 a.m. media appearances in our pajamas, which was awful. I didn't anticipate that. But it gave us a way to promote all the aspects of museums that don't usually get to be seen. So collections, interviews with random people who aren't usually in front of the media. And so, you know, we worked with the different PR and marketing managers to figure out what they wanted to highlight. Down here, we're actually in the basement of the San Diego Natural History Museum, so we're able to show all of their many, many jars of snakes and kind of engage people in it. It was completely exhausting. I don't think I'd ever do it again, but it was a really fun and creative way and a very low-cost way to market many institutions at one time. Around that time, we actually formed a partnership with the UT San Diego, and that's the largest newspaper in our city. They had had an arts reporter covering the park. A big problem was that, well, he was laid off. And so I went to the UT and I said, hey, who are we supposed to pitch? Who's going to cover what's happening in the park? And they didn't have an answer. And I said, hey, you know, we have a blog where we feature information about different programs happening at many different institutions. We don't use a cheesy PR voice. Do you want to repost this content? And they said, sure. So now we're able to still get the word out about a lot of these programs, and they don't have to worry about having the staffing to cover it. And I think this is going to be a really increasing trend in the next couple of years as media outlets try to figure out how to provide that features content. And maybe more investigative journalism will fall into the nonprofit realm, but these contents for things like, you know, just the content for things like the arts will have to come from these kind of partnerships. So now I'm going to talk about a project called Giskin Anomaly, which some of you may know about. This was a cell phone-based adventure game that we had all across Balboa Park, and people would use their cell phones, call in, follow a fictional narrative, and get clues as to where the next stake was placed. So it led them to all these different institutions that they may not have known.
Carpinteria, and that was phenomenal. That was great. Wasn't that fun?
Yeah!
Thank you so much for that. We can't wait for more clues. I guess we'll have to drive back down. Thanks. Bye.
Bye!
So that was a voice message from one family that played the game. So we built in a mechanism so people could leave their feedback. And of course we got some feedback like, oh, I couldn't find the stake, and maybe someone had moved it. We had those kind of issues. But for the most part, we had a really great response to that. It was a pretty low-cost way to really get the word out. This shows where all the different markers were. We probably didn't have to do that many markers. Most people didn't make it all the way through the game, so that was one learning. But we just wanted to demonstrate kind of the different possibilities of mobile technologies. Here is a screenshot of an app called Meridian, and Meridian is an app for iPhone and Android that highlights different cultural institutions across the country. So if you don't have the funding for a very, very sophisticated mobile app on your own that's branded with your institution, this is one of those options where you can still provide people with that content through any iPhone or Android device. And here's an example. So we feed all of our events and organizational information directly into the app. So it's extremely little maintenance for me, and provides great support when there's just not enough time to manage all these kinds of projects. Now I'm just going to talk about two quick things that are in the pipeline. One is a project I'm working on with the lady behind the camera, which is to create a promotional video highlighting museums as special events destinations, so highlighting many museums at one time and giving people the idea that if you want to have a special event, don't have it at a hotel, don't have it at a country club. Museums are awesome places to do it and a great source of revenue. Another big project is that the Balboa Park is launching a park pass to 17 organizations in the park, so you pay one price, get into them all year long. We're going to be able to do a lot of collaborative marketing around that for small and large institutions. We have no idea how it will go. We're hoping tens of thousands of people will buy it. Hopefully I'll be able to report back on that at another MW. So in summary, I've learned at BPOC that collaboration can be very hard, but with a little creativity and a lot of communication, it can be a very beautiful thing. If you have any questions about any of this, I'm happy to talk to you. Thank you.